Hello, this is Ron and Hugh, and welcome to Politically Challenged. As you can tell, this is another perspective episode. Last time we did part one, and this time we did part two.
We're doing part two.
The first one we recorded before our hiatus, but this one we're recording after the hiatus.
Yeah, I thought it would be a nice way to bridge the two gaps. And we'll go back to structured podcasts.
The problem is, a lot of things happened during the past 2 to 3 weeks, so honestly, we don't know where to begin. We're gathering our thoughts on that so that we can do that in the next episode.
First thing first, it didn't come home. It didn't come home.
No, it didn't come home. I went to Greece for a week. We saw the semis against Croatia. It was 1-0 to England, and all I wanted was for England to win, and that's not what happened. And what annoyed me was that I called Ron. I called him because he was back home in London. I said, Ron, it's coming home. And this was when it was 1-0. And then the second I hang up the phone, Croatia score, and then it goes to extra time, and then they score again, and then
And for the record, I felt funny because you've never called during an England game, and the one time you call, we bloody lose. Damn you!
That's not my fault, all right. I don't know whether it was jinx. I was like, it's coming home, and then I hang up the phone, and then about 5 minutes later, Croatia score, and then I was like, nope, don't do this to me. I have money on this. The whole country supporting you. Do not lose. And then they lost. And then, oh Lord.
And then the worst team ever won the World Cup.
France, they are not the worst team ever.
They've won it twice in my lifetime.
They won the World Cup. Basically,
twice in my lifetime.
The consensus on social media is that the African players won the game and won the tournament for them. But when the winning photograph was taken, it was funny because all of the black players were at the back and all of the white players were at the front.
Wait, all two of them?
No, mate, what do you mean all two of them? Or do you mean the white players?
Yeah.
No, apparently there were more than 2 white players. Basically, it caused a bit of an uproar among social media because the black people were the ones that helped win the tournament, and they were accusing people of racism for some reason.
You say that, well, the France 98 team, which I'm not sure if you're old enough to remember, but that's my first World Cup. They had Arab, they had mixed race, they had black and white. This is just basically black and white. So you could say in their ethnic perspective, they've probably gone back because it's less of a mixture. It's just only black and white. There were no Asians. No one's commenting about how there were no Asians in the French team or English team.
No, people were commenting on the fact that there are Africans in France, just like there are Africans in the French World Cup. And some people don't feel as if the Africans have been treated properly, and that now that Africans have won now that Africans and Muslims have won the World Cup for France, that the French presidency should take care of Africans and Muslims in France more often. That was what people have been saying on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, in my situation with the racism in football, there is racism in football. It's like there's a lack of Asians, and I'm not going to belittle what you as a black man / black boy, I don't know what you classify yourself as.
Yeah, but, go on.
But surely, like, I don't get the thing that, oh wait, the black people, well, they won the World Cup. They at least made the team. I mean, like, how many Asians are there in France? How many Asians are there in England? And they're not in football.
I don't know why that is. Maybe.
Actually, are there any black players in the English cricket team, as I say that? I don't follow cricket.
Well, I think there's two. So, okay, there's some diversity regardless, because I've seen Asian players in there and white players as well as black players in the cricket team.
But you find it strange that there's no Asian, of my Asian heritage, well, Indian or whatever, in
the football team?
In football league at all, to be honest. Have you ever noticed?
I haven't noticed too much, but I'm sure that will change anyway. We've got a young team this time, so I reckon if there are up-and-coming players of that heritage that are talented enough, which there obviously will be, they'll be added to the list, because we need talent. We've got good talent, but we need more talent so that we'll be able to win the next World Cup.
Well, our talent pool could be a bit larger. I remember a few years ago I saw, well, there were 3 documentaries, and it was called Is Football Sexist? Is Football Racist? Or was football homophobic? Two of them were on BBC Three, and one of them was on BBC One. Guess which one was on BBC One? Which one is football sexist? And if the football racist one on BBC Three, it was hosted by the guy called Clark Carlisle, and he interviewed an Asian player who went like over 80 goals, and apparently he went to a trial, and he was told that the coach said, "You're all right, but I've been ordered not to take in Asians," and I'm not sure if the system's still like that, but
How long ago was this?
it was a year or so after, maybe 2013 or something, like after the John Terry Ferdinand thing. You may have heard of it.
Yeah, that was ages ago.
Yeah.
But if that's true, that's a pretty horrible thing to do, to discriminate like that.
Yeah, and in the documentary, he looked at like Asian leagues. I mean, there's Asian leagues, and like that always like. I mean, like I have the same problem with that as I have a problem with like football players who are demanding. Have you heard of the Rooney Rule or
No,
something?
I've never heard of it.
In American football, there's a rule that you have to interview at least one black person to be your coach before you make your appointment. And I think that rule is stupid because they're thinking about imposing that in England. Well, they thought about it, and I thought, no, I mean, like, black people are not special, Asians are not special, white people are not special. If a club wants to hire you, they should hire you. Doesn't matter what your ethnicity is, and I think that's a step back that you have to make.
But there's always stereotypes in football, unfortunately. I mean, before there weren't even any black players, and then because of black people getting the stereotype that they're athletic and good at sports, obviously, you've got white people playing and you've got black people playing, but then for some reason, like because of I don't know why they don't pick Asian players if that's the case. I'm not sure if it is, but if that's the case, I don't know why they would do that. But I think that with black people, at least we have the stereotype that we are good at sports and athletics. So that's why they'd be looking at black players and thinking, okay, maybe we need to take on black players. And if you consider the fact that a lot of according to social media, a lot of the people that helped France win the World Cup were African players. It just
when you say
reinforces
African,
this.
don't you mean of African descent? I mean, I'm Asian,
No,
but I'm born in England. I am English. You're born in England. You are English. You're not Nigerian, are
From
you?
what I know, some of them actually, like, you know how Mo Salah isn't like, he's Egyptian, right? But he's not from Liverpool. It's like that. They actually get foreign players to play in different teams.
I know how I've watched football here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh yeah,
some of those people are
and
actually from
Salah,
African
who is
countries.
genetically, I mean, I know Egypt's in Africa, but he's close. I know we're far removed in terms of genetics, but I'm more related to him than he's to relate to you, even though you're on the same continent. If you think about it,
Not necessarily. I mean,
I think I look more like him than you do.
no. I don't know
You
why.
think you look like Salah? Really?
I don't look like him, but neither do you.
I think I look closer to him than you do.
All right, so
That's a different point anyway.
moving on to another point. So how do you seem not to be too happy that France won? Is it just because it wasn't England or just?
Well, yes, like when you really want one team to win and then the worst possible team wins in its place.
Why is France the worst?
They've already
possible
won
team?
in my lifetime.
That doesn't make them the worst possible team.
No, I've already seen a golden generation of France: Vieira, Terry, Henry, and like, I mean, the bloody manager whose name I can't remember. He won as a player. That's enough. Come on, like that's too. Like the Spanish team, like I celebrated when Russia knocked them out because they've won. They had their golden generation, and they could wait another 50 years until they win. Just like my rule is that if England don't win a tournament, I like a team that's never won it. Which is why I was so happy when Eder scored that last-minute winner against France. It's like, yes, France have lost. I mean,
They won the whole thing, but
no, in the Euros.
in the Euro Cup.
I mean, like I was like,
We apparently we have the female World Cup next year. Hopefully we win at that.
oh, at least I know that French. But no, that's different because I'm not sure how good the French. No, if the French female team win, I'm not sure if they've won it. That's fine. But the men, they've won it enough. If France win the Euros, I am protesting something. I am annoyed.
No point to be protesting if they
No,
win the
no,
Euros.
to myself.
To yourself. Okay.
I mean, Pogba is annoying, but he's annoyingly likable as well. Like, and then he dabbed with the World Cup. For shame. I mean, seriously.
It is a bit outdated, the dab, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought that was a 2016 thing. I mean, I don't dab. I mean, you see me try to dab. I hit myself in the face. Yeah, I'm not even joking. You're laughing because you see me hit myself in the face trying it. Wasn't that funny?
It is. No, it's just the dab itself that's funny.
Why did that? Who called that? Who started that anyway?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was Migos or other people. I'm not sure. But speaking of protests, while I was away in Greece,
Oh yeah, we had a
when-
little visit.
That's when Trump decided to go to the UK, almost as if he knew I wouldn't be there, almost as if. And there was this massive protest.
Oh yeah, fun
over-
fact.
yeah.
I'm gonna say this: more people came to the protest than came to his winning ceremony.
Inauguration.
Yeah,
Wow.
more people came to London for the protest than his inauguration.
Apparently it was so big. There were 4 different places they had to go to. I think Hayden told me this. They had to go to the BBC building, Regent's Park or Regent Street. I'm not sure, and 2 other places, and they all had to meet in Trafalgar Square.
So it was like 4 corners of.
I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, but
all I know
like-
is that they had 4 different locations for it because so many people came, and it was 250,000 people altogether.
Oh, I wanted to go, but I had to take my mom to the surgery, so that's. But I like the idea of it was divided into 4 sections and all 4 corners of the globe united. I mean, I have nothing against Trump. I mean, the North Korea thing. I mean, you tell me, intentionally, unintentionally, he created some dialogue with North Korea. I mean, who else would have done that? I mean,
somebody who wouldn't threaten to blow up the country. But that's another story. Yeah, so it seems that a lot of people, even in the United Kingdom, even in London, have problems with Trump. And they all have their different reasons. We won't get into them. But it was just interesting that it was 250,000 people. And they had that Trump baby. And they had all this preparation for this protest. And I was thinking, what good would it actually do?
do you remember that comedian? I don't remember. I don't know the actual comedian's name, but Lee Nelson. He interrupted Trump and different.
Oh yes, that guy.
I remember on a documentary they showed him that the world's biggest prankster or something. And basically, every time he pranked someone, nothing happens. He pranked Trump while he was on the election train. Trump won. He went for a guy who's on a yacht evading tax. The guy is still on a yacht evading tax. So I think the point of these protests, based on that one example that I'm giving, it's saying that these protests, they don't do anything. Trump still won despite it. So
I went to a protest once. I went to one. It was a joint protest of people hating Trump and people hating Theresa May, and I just went for. I literally just went for banter and for giggles. I think I don't know how far away I was from Downing Street, but I couldn't have been more than 20 minutes away from it. But the crowds were so big, you could barely see anything. But this was shortly after Trump had been elected, not inaugurated. So this was maybe after November.
well, I remember.
But my point is, I went to that protest, nothing happened. Trump was still president, obviously, became president. Theresa May stayed as prime minister.
And there's no election, so.
No, there's no extra election on top of the other ones we've had.
Well,
so I feel as if, unlike previous protests and campaigns in the past, protests seem to have lost some meaning in a way. It's just people shouting and
I think we're oversaturated in protests.
perhaps it's there's a process for everything now.
You say
Not that I'm saying that there aren't important topics to protest about. Of course there are. But the fact that people do them so often, it might take away the meaning of it.
You say that. I mean, it was last year that I went to the women's march that happened at uni, and there was mention about how Trump had created a mini shift in America, more men were being inappropriate with women, and they say, oh, it's okay because our president does it. So that's.
But those people were just using an excuse.
No, those people would do it anything. Well,
they would have done it anyway.
They'll be like, oh, I did it, but the president did it, so it's okay. It's I like that. I don't like the fact that there's the thing about mob mentality. So you think, oh, he did it, so I could do it. So I think that's the thing you have to have for individual responsibility.
Exactly, and it's like the Brexit vote. When people voted leave, and then we decided that we were going to leave the European Union, there were people being openly racist and saying, oh, I voted leave. Why are you still here? And I'm thinking, well. It didn't. Brexit,
Firstly, you're not European.
No, I mean, they were saying that to lots of people. But what was I saying? They did that But the media wanted you to think that Brexit made the country more racist. That's not what happened. What happened was that Brexit was used as an excuse. The racism just became more apparent
No,
because
they thought that racism was justified now. Like, oh, more people believe the way I see things the way I do than the other way around. Being in London, we voted to remain. I mean, I voted to remain. You voted to remain.
no, but these racist attacks were still happening
In London as well. It was happening everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, sure. You can say that these racists felt that their racism was justified. That's why they decided to become more obvious of their racism and more open with it.
I mean, there were other reasons that people voted leave, but obviously the extreme minority made a big deal about it and so on. We can't say everyone that voted leave was racist because we know people that voted leave.
No, it was a small minority of people doing this, but the media blew it out of proportion just to fulfill this narrative that Brexit was a mistake.
Wait, the media blew something out of proportion. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, you're right.
They never do that. The media never do that.
Yeah, it's not like they don't do that all the time, except that they do. But what I'm saying is, of course, the media would blow it out of proportion because you remember before the Brexit vote, the British media were basically pushing this narrative that the worst possible thing we could do was to decide to vote leave.
And we did vote leave.
And then we did vote leave.
And then they were like, okay, we voted leave, what happens? Nothing's happened. You know, we're still in the EU right now. We're still up and left. Brexit is the process, and then after that we've left.
No, obviously, we're supposed to leave next year.
Yeah.
But people are still desperately trying to find some way of keeping us in. I'm like, it's over, give up, we're leaving. But apart from that...
Don't dream when it's over. Don't.
Yeah.
That's a song.
Apart from that, what was I saying? I was saying that after the Brexit vote, the media were actually harping on the fact that Brexit was a mistake. For example, they kept hammering in the point that the pound dropped for the... it dropped at its lowest level for 30 years, something like that.
Yeah, and it for a couple of weeks/months, the property prices went, and some people took advantage of that situation, some people didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, some people's lives were saved because of houses, and that's another story. What we're really saying is the British media do harp on about, and they never really help with situations like this.
Yeah, everyone has their narrative. And what's our narrative? We've covered Trump, we've covered the World Cup. Do you want a third thing?
Probably, but I feel as if...
How was Greece?
No, Greece was excellent. I learned a lot about myself. The three things that I learned about when I went to Greece, apart from all the historical stuff of the country, was one, you have to be more confident when talking to new people. I mean, I was out there in Greece. I tried to get some of the people I met there to follow our podcast, our YouTube channel, and the social media.
Basically, be a part of our community.
Exactly. Hello, Greek friends, if any of you have subscribed. Number two, what have I learned from Greece? I've learned that...
Empire's fall. The Greek Empire fall.
I don't know how to turn that in, but yeah, let's add that. Empire's fall. Number three, this is my one. I learned that if you don't go after the things that you want, somebody else will go and take it.
And then throw it away.
Not throw it away, Jesus Christ. But if you can't let opportunities pass you by, otherwise other people will take advantage of the opportunities. And
yes, opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Another song.
Oh no. And here is Ron quoting Eminem, ladies and gentlemen.
There was a concert I think it was last week, I forget.
Last week?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
You love Eminem, don't you? You're all with that.
I like Eminem, sure.
Yeah.
But okay. Do you agree with the point that I made that you shouldn't let opportunities pass you by? You should be more assertive and take them.
Well, when you asked me to be on this podcast, I said yes straight away. I mean, I was busy the first day, and you weren't sad about how busy you weren't. So, yeah, and then...
And we're still doing the podcast, so that's excellent.
That wasn't March. This is...
This is July, so it's been over 4 months now.
Time flies, and I've aged so much.
But in terms of, let's say, think of anything, if it's relationships, the job market, employment, anything in your life, what sorts of opportunities that you are happy to talk about, online, what sort of opportunities are you willing to take? What sort of what would you like to be more proactive about?
I think on top of my head, I, as you know, our dynamic is that you're proactive and I'm reactive. I tend to be more reactive. A situation needs to, like, basically be brought forward to me. I mean, the situation has to occur for me to do something. You create the situation, I react to the situation. You created the podcast, and I came on.
That's true, but not just about the podcast.
No, I'm implying that in this sense. So, I, I wouldn't be able to give you an example until it's right in front of me. The opportunity.
But what about the things that you want right now in life? The things the opportunities that you would like to
like
have?
a job, like I have to apply straight away. When it comes to relationship wise, I have to create it. I don't know. I mean, like, you're way more experienced in that than me. So how do you create that?
You talk to people. I mean,
Now, how have you created?
Have I created? That's another story entirely. Basically,
I'm not saying you fathered a child. I mean, like.
No, I haven't done that. But from the experience that I have, the only thing that I can say for sure that is the truth is that nothing ever happens until you. I mean, they always say that good things happen to those who wait, but I think that's a load of BS. You have to make things happen sometimes.
And I heard the quote, probably not relevant in this situation, but that no good deed goes unpunished. That's a weird sense. That's a weird thing.
I don't know how that relates to this.
I know.
We can figure it out. No good deed goes unpunished. So
everything you could, like, if you basically, when you go to help someone, see opportunity. Oh wait, I like this girl. Let me help her. There's a chance it might bite you up, blow in your face.
Blow up in your face.
Oh no, yeah. It could be a friend as well.
I mean, that's happened to us. Sure, it's happened to a lot of people.
Kaboom. Anything else? I mean, like, this perspective idea was, well, I got it from another YouTuber. Well, we're not YouTubers yet. I think we need a little more followers, but I thought it'd be a nice way of, like, just bridging gaps. We'll go back to structured interviews at some point, or structured discussion at some point.
Yes. As a final point, we do want to branch out when it comes to creating our content. Eventually, what we want to do is we want to invest in some equipment so that we'll be able to interview people. We've already spoken to a couple of people we'd like to interview. We'll let you know how that goes, and any further developments we'll let you know. But we are looking for people to interview on whatever topic you like. If anyone's actually listening and they want us to interview them on anything,
something they can. That we're not experts that they're comfortable talking about.
Things that they're comfortable talking about. It would help if they are experts in that field. But whatever topic you have, if any of you are listening and you want to join us on a podcast as a guest to talk about this topic, please slide into our DMs and Instagram, comment on our YouTube channel, Facebook. Contact us on Facebook.
We have 2 pages. One with
we have a Facebook page which is politically challenged, and then we have the politically challenged podcast Facebook group,
which where our community
that has loads of people. It's basically where our community talks and discusses and has very harsh, cruel debates with each other. We've seen those, guys. You calm down. But thank you for contributing anyway.
You've been holding that off for a few months. I mean, there were pages and pages, and there were only 3 people in that discussion.
I mean, we congratulate the people who actually do take the time to comment on our Facebook group and have these debates.
But like, don't take it too seriously.
All we have to say is, please debate more often, but try not to. I don't want to say don't try to hurt each other's feelings, because that might sound a bit babyish, but what can I say? Don't try to...
Stay civil.
Yes, perfect. Try to be civil with each other. I understand, because of my own social networking in the past, most of the people...
We attract different people.
Most of the people in our community are people we went to university with, sixth form schools,
work
and around, exactly. And everybody's got different political opinions. They've got left-wing, centrist, right-wing. I mean, we've seen debates about the Apu scandal, we've about homophobia, transphobia, and we've had people with very, 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 very different opinions.
Like the flat earth theory?
Oh yes, the flat earth theory. There are people.
You have to stay woke, man.
Shout out to Liber. Was it Liber?
I just call him that. I can't pronounce it.
I don't know. I think one of the people that you met. Also, there was on one of our previous episodes we talked about abortion and women's rights, and we were called out for not having credible opinions because we weren't women, which I found interesting. But then other people jumped on that, and it became a very different, interesting debate entirely, and
As
we had
PewDiePie
nothing to do
says,
with it.
we respect women. We respect women. Women. That's why he's Swedish.
Women?
That's how he pronounces it because he's Swedish. His accent says women, not women.
How is that possible?
Watch a few of the videos. That's how he says it. But he respects women.
Yeah, we respect women too. We respect women. Women, like let's say women,
Ladies.
ladies, and men, and everyone else.
And everything in between because we can't.
We respect your opinions.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening.
And
well,
eventually watching.
and watching, because we do upload this onto YouTube. Anything else you want to cover before we cut this off?
Not really. Well, other than the fact that Bend It Like Beckham is one of the first foreign films to be shown on terrestrial TV in North Korea. It's on
And
Wikipedia.
on that note, we will say goodbye for now. It's goodbye from Hugh.
And it's goodbye from me. Yes.
Follow us on social media. All the links should be on the description box wherever you're watching this.
Or listening to this. And we've already mentioned them, haven't we?
Yep. Bye, guys.